Made it to the largest pistachio, man. We are out here at the pistachio farm here, and they call it PistachioLand. I guess they got pistachios. They got the biggest pistachio. If you guys hit the like, we're gonna go check out the pistachio store and buy some pistachio stuff like pistachio ice cream and some cool pistachio treats. You guys are gonna hit that like button, right? Well, I don't know. We can still look at it. Look, they have a train. How much does it cost to ride the train?
The bus.
Pistachio.
I did not.
Alright. So, look at it. This is the world's largest pistachio. You need me to take your picture?
Sure, why not?
Okay, let's go. You gotta buy a necklace though, no playing. You don't have to buy a necklace.
Oh, I was like, I'm not buying a necklace.
There you go. I took a couple. I don't know.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Make sure they look good. You put attention into. Oh, good angle. Nice job.
Hey, will you at least subscribe to my YouTube channel?
What's the name of it?
Erick the Dream Giver.
Erick the Dream Giver?
Yeah.
All right.
It's just a pistachio, man. What do you think about this pistachio?
It's pretty big.
So is this like a farm, man?
Maybe. I hope
Yeah.
so. That'd be cool.
Dude, they got pistachios, I heard. Look, do they have pistachio ice cream, man?
They do.
They got pistachio ice cream. What is this train about?
I have no clue.
Are you guys going on a ride?
Yeah.
Where are you guys taking a ride to?
They're just touring us around.
Tour us around? You guys think I should ask for a tour?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go on a tour. When does the tour starts?
It starts in like 8 minutes, 7 minutes.
We need ticket.
How much is the ticket?
$3.
$3. Oh man. Where do you get the tickets?
Inside.
Okay. Alright, we got 8 minutes until the thing. What is this? Ice cream? This is where you get the pistachio ice cream.
You want to go
PistachioLand tour. Okay, we gotta do the PistachioLand tour. Alright, where should I start?
Okay.
Look, they got pistachio wine. Sweet California. No, they just have regular wine. Shot glasses. Alright. Smokey the Bear hats. Look, I give you the smoke of the bear. Alright, we only have a few minutes to check out this place and then go on the tour. They got the pistachio walnuts. They got pistachio. They got pistachios. Yeah, they got those. Okay. And they have t-shirts and everything. All right, well let's do the tour before we miss out. Hey, where do I buy tickets for the tour?
Our last tour of the day sold out, unfortunately. We'll have one from tomorrow at 10.
Well, can you have room for one more? Come on, like I'm a YouTuber. It'll be good content.
No, it's already fully booked. I can't even squeeze you on. Sorry about that.
Hey, what's up? Anybody want to sell me the ticket?
Oh, there he is.
No? Nobody want to sell me your ticket? They say we're booked up. There's a room back here for one more.
Did you get a ticket?
I tried to get a ticket. They said that maybe if I could squeeze on, but they don't. No, they might be booked up. Man, this is upsetting. I don't get to go on the Pistachio tour. Maybe I can ask the driver when they come out. If I hang out. Is there a room on the back for one more?
I used to get over here.
Alright, let's go. Maybe they won't even check my ticket.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe I'll. Here we go. We're on the board.
Yeah, here we go.
Are you from here?
No, I'm from everywhere.
Where?
Everywhere. Did anybody bring any pistachios with them? No. I should go in the gift shop after we buy me a big bag. It seemed like they got the deals in there.
They were pretty good.
It's like you get a big old giant bag of pistachio, $20.
All right, folks, we're going to get started here. Welcome to McGinn's PistachioLand tour. My name is Erick. I'll be your tour guide for today. New York, you say before we get started here. If for any reason you have to stop, please let me know. Stop and take care of the matter at hand, whatever it may be. All right, folks, are we ready for this tour today? Yeah! Right. This is the last tour of the day, so I'm going to try to make it extra special for all you folks.
Dude, I got an awesome seat. I got the best seat in the back. That way you don't got anybody blocking our views. We just got pure views, no block.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, if you happen to be
Look.
driving in, to our left or to our right, depending on where
Quickly
we're
pass.
we have the world's largest pistachio, comprised of concrete and steel and standing at a solid 35 feet tall. And I bet you're wondering to yourself, why the world's largest pistachio besides us being on a pistachio farm? Well, back in 1980, a man by the name of Thomas McGinn bought a little piece of southern New Mexico soil. And him and his son Tim McGinn, before all that started, would travel around the country to visit the world's largest attractions like the world's largest boots and the world's largest ball of twine. Now I put world's largest ball of twine in bold because there are 3 world's largest balls of twine that are competing for the world's largest spot. Every year they keep adding on to it, so for all we know, they're just going to get bigger and bigger until eventually they're just going to stop. So I don't have much more to say about the world's largest ball of twine because that's not here. Now, Thomas and Tim grew kind of a bond over that sort of thing, traveling around the country to see these great structures. But unfortunately, Thomas McGinn passed away in 2007, leaving Tim with the ownership of the farm and to continue his legacy. Well, in 2008, he commissioned a plan to build his father's first world's largest pistachio to commemorate his name and to continue on his legacy. Now, if we haven't had a chance to read the plaque in front of the pistachio, I highly advise reading it. It's a magnificent story to be told. Now, right here to our left, folks, or to our right, depending on where we're sitting, we have this here warehouse. This is where all the magic happens. Right here to the first part of this warehouse is going to be the roastery, where we roast all those amazing flavors for you. Your roasted, salted, red chili, green chili, garlic, ranch, anything you can think of, that happens all behind these doors. Now, second half of the building, for all you folks that are of age, this is where we ferment, put a cork in it, and put a sticker on it, and sell you a nice glass bottle of wine. Now, funny thing about the wine behind that story, Thomas and Tim had a more of a hobby when they first started the farm. They were amateur winemakers, but as time went on, they got better at it. And so what better direction than up from there, they eventually said, let's go commercial. So we have 12 acres of vineyard to our right or to our left, depending on where we're sitting. We have 6 varieties of grapes out here. We have Cabernet Sauvignon, Sauvignon Blanc, Gewürztraminer, Merlot, Zinfandel, and of course we have Chardonnay. Now we're going to come over here to our right. This very strange looking contraption right here. Can anyone tell me what this contraption might be? Wrong answers only.
It is a Lucille Ball lookalike.
That's a good answer. Any other funny answers for me today? What do you got?
It's a press.
Movie theater. Hey, that's a good one too. I guess you could consider it a movie theater if you were to watch those guys work this machine. But this machine is going to be a grape press. Now, of course, if you didn't know that already, then here's a little bit silly. Now, the way it works is you have at least 3 to 4 men, and I say men because the women did not want to do it at the time. Trust me, I've asked, and they said they didn't want to because this machine took about 7 to 8 hours to operate one cycle of grapes. No breaks. They had to continuously work that corkscrew down to make one batch of a whopping 150 gallons worth of grape juice. Now today we have bigger, much better machines that can do quadruple that amount. Our machines can do 300 gallons in 30 minutes just by the press of a button. Now, if you think you do the math right here, 12 acres of grape vineyards. Throughout the year, we can produce over 500,000 gallons of grape juice in a year. Now, you're probably all wondering, what's with the hose that hangs about halfway down the grapevines? Well, if you look a little bit closely, we have started to water the grapevines. Now, the reason why they hang halfway up is because, well, down in southern New Mexico, we have very clay, very leachy-filled soil. Now, that doesn't allow water to get down underneath the ground very well. So, naturally watering the grapevines does not work very well around here because all it does is puddle up the water. Well, the reason for the emitter drip system is to shoot water directly down into the grapevines so they can have their water. Now, we do water these grapevines 25 gallons of water every 4 hours. Now, it's kind of ironic because we give them so much water for them to give not a whole lot in return. Isn't that a bit sad? But hey, that's why we have 12 acres of it. Now, as you can see, we have started to prune them. Our agriculture team has been pruning them throughout the past 3 weeks. They're starting to get more into season. If we prune them, we get better clusters of grapes. Now, you think with the harvest, we have used machines in the past because we have 12 acres of vineyards. However, the machines deemed a little not great because machines would knock off 60% of our yield as far as the grapes went. With the machines, they would go through the vineyard throughout each row, and they would knock off the grapes onto the ground. And if I'm being honest with you, I'm not much of a wine drinker. I've actually been sober for over a year, so congrats to me. However, I wasn't much of a wine drinker, but to be honest with you, I don't think I would want to drink wine made from grapes that have been on the ground all day. It still kind of sound appealing to me. It's a little too much earth for my liking. Now, every variety out here has a different sugar level content within the window of time to do the harvest. Every variety, we make sure that the sugar levels are just right so that your wine is contained as best as it possibly can. Now, during July, August, we do have volunteers that come out and handpick the grapes. Yes, we went back to the original method. We do handpick every grapevine out here because of the loss of the 60% in the past. Now, I bet you're also wondering, the grapevines are getting a little bit more scragglier as we go west down the vineyard, and you're probably wondering why. Well, I have another story to tell you folks, and that is kind of an unfortunate story. I'm going to go ahead and make a stop here, and I'll go ahead and get into that story. So back in 2011, we had a massive freeze come down from Canada. It lasted about 3 days, and it was 10 below zero for those 3 days straight. So unfortunately, we lost 95% of the vineyard. As you saw, the grapevines more towards the store, those were the ones that survived. These ones, unfortunately, are the ones that replaced the ones we lost. Now you're probably also wondering, what's with the white boxes out here? Well, those are going to be for the smaller grapevines because, well, when they're smaller, grapevines have a lot of sugars within their stems. Now, as they get older, they start to work those sugars down to the top so the grapes can have the sugar level contents. Now, with them being sugar filled, those white boxes are to keep the critters out. Like your rabbit, your mole, your gopher. We do not want them eating the grapevines. We've already took a massive hit as it is. We don't want the critters to eat all of our grapes. So, keep the white boxes out here. We give them protection so the critters do not destroy even more of our vineyard. Now, if you happen to have free samples inside, we do have 4 free samples for each of you that are of age. We do not encourage underage drinking, and if you do, be safe about it, but you did not hear that from me. Anyway, we do have free samples inside. You get 4 samples each. We have amazing flavors, but another one in particular flavor we have is our pomegranate wine. Now, you probably think, why pomegranate? Well, the result of the 2011 loss, we actually reverted to a different method. The pomegranate wine is made specifically from pomegranates. There's not a single grape juice in the wine. It is an amazing flavor. I tried it myself a few weeks ago. That does not count as drinking. I sampled it. I'm still sober over a year. Do not give me any sort of struggle because of it. I am still sober. I go by my word. Anyway, so also in 2011, we unfortunately lost 300 of our pistachio trees. However, as you can see, that did not do a much big of a dent with the 250,000 trees we have on this farm, which leads us to the star of the show, the pistachio trees. So I'm going to come around this bend here. It's going to get a little bit loud. I highly advise for you young folks, cover your ears. It's going to be pretty loud here.
I think we.
I'll use that joke for the younger kids because, well, that wasn't that loud. If you covered your ears, you're a bit silly. I got you there. Some of your ears. I was like, okay. I was not expecting that, but you're a great parent to begin with, so that was great. So, the origin of these trees actually does not start here in the U.S., ladies and gentlemen. It actually starts in the Middle East. These trees are native to that area, like Turkey, Iran, Iraq. Well, in 1978, the U.S. figured, well, we want to grow pistachios ourselves. So we went ahead and asked the Middle East to export pistachios that we can plant so we can have our own pistachio trees. And the Middle East said, sure, go for it. They went ahead and handed us some pistachios. We went ahead and grown them down here in the U.S. Well, unfortunately, they did not stick around. Now, 1978, the University of Berkeley in California figured, well, we want to figure out why they didn't stick around. So they went ahead and sent over researchers to the Middle East to figure out why the trees grew so well out there. And so they took samples of the humidity levels, the plant itself, the pistachios, even the water. And what they found out in particular was, well, these trees love dry desert climates. So what better places in the U.S. that fit that criteria other than California, Arizona, and of course, southern New Mexico? So the University of Berkeley went ahead and said, hey, plant them here in these states. It should work. They fit the criteria. We got all the So the University of Berkeley had to go back to the drawing board and figure out what was going on. They sat back in their chairs and was just sitting there like, the environment fits the criteria. It's dry. There's a lot of sun. It doesn't make much sense as to why they don't grow. Well, the University of Berkeley went back to the drawing board, did a little bit more research. What they found out was even more interesting. Like I said earlier, very production filled. Like that sort of thing. They're very sensitive to what nutrients they want. So, the University of Berkeley had to figure out a way to bypass that fact so we can have pistachios down here in the U.S. And what they came up with was quite extraordinary. I would have never have thought of this, but then again, I'm not a biometric tree expert. However, I did learn something very new, and as well as you folks, in case you don't know, you're also about to learn something quite interesting.
What?
So, I'm about to tell you right now. So, to our north, you can see all these pistachio trees. If we look about a foot high off the ground, you can see that the bark is a little bit different from the rest. It's not as smooth, it's not as lush, it almost looks like a completely different tree. Well, that's because it is. It is called UCB1 rootstock, and that is the result of the University of Berkeley figuring out a way to bypass all the nutrients to these trees. Essentially, that is a hybrid rootstock comprised of two varieties of trees here in the U.S., the American oak tree and the mesquite bush. Now, the way it works is you take those two, you let them grow a little bit high, you chop them off toward the bottom, drill a hole in the middle of that, you take a branch from a pistachio tree, shove it into that hole, throw some sap on it, tape it up, and there you go. The trees will grow here in the U.S. Now, of course, California figured this out first, so they were the first ones to do it. However, as time went on, they told the rest of the states, Arizona and New Mexico, to go ahead and do this because it works. Now, it doesn't affect the production in any way, shape, or form. It actually helps it more in the fact that they do not like the soil around here. It essentially works as a filtration system for the tree. The rootstock will take all the nutrients that it wants, while the tree itself, the pistachio tree, will take the nutrients it does want, as well as the water. Now, as you can see, our irrigation system is on the ground this time, not halfway up the tree. Well, that is because the rootstock that you see that's visible is actually what absorbs water. The water doesn't necessarily go down into the dirt as much because, again, the dirt doesn't allow it to. So the rootstock itself will actually absorb the water, and it goes ahead and drinks up all that water. Now, the way we water around here, we water these trees only 4 gallons every 7 days. Now, the reason for that is because, well, these trees, like I said, they love dry desert climates. They don't need a whole lot of water. But unlike your cactus will absorb water and keep it for storage until it wants it. These trees, that is not the case. They drink water very, very slowly. Now, over the course of that 7 days, of course, they're going to want water again. But of course, it's not more. They just need the 4 gallons again. So that is the way we water the trees around here. Now, we're going to come up on in particular tree right here, and I'll get into more facts about how these trees work. Now, believe it or not, folks, you're gonna have a fun fact for you right here. Believe it or not, folks, you actually need a male and a female tree to produce pistachios. So, can anyone tell me what the difference is between this tree and some of the rest? Now, you can see that there are other trees similar to this one. Can anyone tell me or guess what that might be? What's your answer?
It's bigger.
It's bigger, is very much true. What about you?
The different roots, they grow more into the tree than the others.
So that's kind of true. You're pretty much right in the ballpark. Any other guesses?
Has buds?
Well, that is also another true statement, but this tree in particular is in fact a male tree. Now, the difference between the two, how you can tell, is your average male tree will be around 17 feet tall maximum, while your female trees are going to be around 13 feet maximum. Now, the way it works down here in southern New Mexico is the male trees, believe it or not, folks, natural selection says that males have nuts. In this case, that is not true. The females wear the pants in this situation, ladies and gentlemen. They are the ones that produce the pistachios, but for all you gentlemen, you're going to love this one. What man would not want to work 20 days out of the year and call it a day, and you're paid for the rest of the year? That is how the male trees operate. They pollinate only 20 days out of the year, and bees, believe it or not, do nothing for us. These trees do not have a flower. They have what's called a drupe. Now that drupe, if you can take a look, you'll see at the end of every stem, it kind of looks more like a spearhead almost. Well, as the year goes on more into the season of production, those drupes will turn into what almost looks like a tiny Christmas tree about this big. That is what releases the pollen. Now, down here in southern New Mexico, we have a natural south to north wind breeze all year long. So the wind will actually take the pollen from the male and bring it to the females. The females will absorb the pollen and they will produce pistachios. Now, also another fun fact. Right here, we're on the crossroads between the original 40 acres of farm and the newer part of the farm. So as you can see right here, this essentially are the original trees ever planted on the farm. Now, I bet a lot of you are wondering, some of these trees don't look as great, not as like over here. Well, that is just trial and error. We did use the rootstock method for these, however, we let it grow so big that it kind of got more aggressive than what we were hoping.
Oh, yeah.
So the rootstock essentially made its way up into the branches, which doesn't affect production in any way, shape, or form. It just doesn't look as great. So after the first round, Tim himself said we need to chop them lower, more in the dirt. So your rootstock will essentially be only this big when it's in the ground. And then you have your branch that's shoved in there, and then of course over time they're going to get mined, and then the result is you only have a foot's worth of the rootstock. So just because it looks prettier, again, it doesn't affect the production in any way, shape, or form. It actually also doesn't affect their lifespan either. Now, funny thing about their lifespan, we don't actually know how long these trees can live. For all we know, in the Middle East, those trees have been there for thousands, if not eons of time. We have not seen or researched any tree that has died off. These trees will live essentially virtually forever, if you will. Now, of course, after 25 years, they're at their full production. They will produce pistachios at around 7 years old, but of course, you're only going to have a handful. Now, on a good year, which would be this year in particular, we expect around 50 to 60 pounds of pistachios per tree, per female tree. Not males don't produce. Now, on an off year, we're expected to only see maybe a quarter of that. So we're looking at maybe 15, 20 pounds per tree. However, that's still kind of a lot. But with 12,500 trees out here, we're still keeping our yield nice and strong. And the brilliant mind of Thomas McGinn, he deliberately planted these trees in sync. Every single tree out here, all 12,500 trees are in sync with each other. There's not one tree that has an on and off here while the rest of the trees have the opposite. They are all in sync, and that's thanks to the great mind of Thomas McGinn. And of course, Tim McGinn took that to heart, and he made sure that every tree that was planted in sync on top of it. Now, as far as the harvest goes, I have a few examples to the left and the right, actually. You guys are probably wondering what the production is like for these. And we got a few samples right here for you folks to look at. I'm gonna go ahead and hand these out to everybody. Here we are. There's two. Oh, did you drop one? It's all right. Here's another one. There you are. Do you want to pass these around? There we are. So, as we all know, folks, if we're Shrek fans here, ogres have layers, pistachios have layers. So, that first layer you'll see right there is called the hull. Now, over time, that hull will start to change its color. It will go from black to a purple, purple to a green, green to a yellow, and then yellow to a pinkish tint. Now, the stage you're seeing right there is kind of a failed stage switch. You can see a little bit of that purple to a yellow. That's just because the production, unfortunately, didn't complete its cycle for the very few. That's why you only see a handful of them that aren't fully productive. Now, if you want to hand me one of those back, I'm not going to cut you. You're not doing it. So, within the first layer, I can only shave off as much of it as I can. You're going to see the second layer, which will be the actual shell. Now, the third layer underneath that is going to be what looks like a nut meat, but believe me or not, it is not. It is the formation of what could have been a nut meat. Your actual nut meat within these ones are probably going to be about this big. These have an expiration date of last August. Do not eat these. You can keep them, but do not eat them. You can crack them open, do whatever with them. Just eating them wouldn't do you much good because it wouldn't taste right, and that it's not really much for you. But with the production, when they cycle in their final stages, when it gets that pinkish tint, that's when we start the harvest. Now we have two machines out here on the farm that harvest the pistachios, and you think two, well, we have 12,500 trees, over 95 acres worth of trees. Why only two machines? Well, that is because it only takes 30 seconds to harvest one tree. Now, the way it works, like I said, we have one machine that has a claw mechanism on it that essentially grabs onto the stock of the tree and gives it a little bit of a vibrate. Not a shake, just a vibrate. We don't want to destroy the trees. They are sensitive ladies. They do not want to be shaken up. Alright? So, give them a little bit of a vibrate, and the pistachios will gently fall off the tree very easily. And the second machine has a net structure on it, which essentially hugs the tree on the other side. And all those pistachios will fall into that net structure and funnel into a conveyor into a 1,000-pound tote. Now, say a 1,000-pound tote, think, well, that's a lot. Well, that's because it is, and it's absolutely necessary. We can harvest around 500 trees per day because of that cycle. So it roughly doesn't really take that long. Give or take maybe a few weeks to do a full harvest. Now, folks, I have been told by Miss Clarissa McGinn's herself to stop you guys right here, do a little bit of a different thing. If we want to go to the sign, we have a lot of information on that sign. If you want to take a picture of it, go ahead and step out if you will. I have the bus parked. If you want to take a picture of that, that is going to be the information in which will be pretty educational. Now, that sign is also going to tell you what varieties we have here on the farm. We have two.
No, I'm not
we have,
Me getting
we have jollies. Now, jollies are going to be the ones that produce the most, while Kermans don't produce as much. Now, in California, they have done research to try to make Kermans grow a little bit more, but I'm not sure how the research is going quite well. I'm sure they're going to figure it out one day. But the jollies are going to be the ones that have most of the varieties on the farm. They are going to produce the most out of both varieties.
Come on, Grant. Come on.
I'll look at you. I'll look at you.
So Mr. Beast is watching my channel. That's crazy. Well, I hope that he liked my content, and maybe we can do some type of collaboration. I'd love to do some type of challenge, even though we have some interesting history. But I can always let the, you know.
It's gonna be okay. We're learning a bunch of great things today.
So yeah. But let's get back on here and finish our tour.
I didn't read it till the papers about 20 minutes before we.
All right. Thank you for subscribing. I'll see you again.
I sent you the list. I saw it. I just didn't read it. I saw it long before I thought we wonder what the. It's so cute. I'm getting some though. I want to try. Green chili. I saw it.
Now, so you had asked the question with the male trees. Well, the great mind of Thomas McGinn, when he first started the farm, he knew that the first 40 acres of trees was not going to be just that. He knew that the farm was going to grow a lot bigger. So he devised the plan to grow most of the male trees on the south side of the farm, while most of the lovely females are on the north side of the farm because of that natural south to north wind breeze. So that's the great mastermind behind his methods. Now, we do have out here, for every 18 females, you have at least one male tree. Now, we do sell trees at the store for all you folks. They are $65 a piece. Now, when you grow these in your backyard, we do advise you to leave at least 5 feet of room between the trees. Now, in this situation, since you're not doing mass productions like we are of course going to let you know that for every 4 to 5 females, you need at least one male to do the pollination process. If you're exceeding that number, it gets a little bit tricky because not every female is going to get the same amount of pollen. So when we exceed 5, we tell you to buy at least one more male to help the production cycle.
Oh no.
Alright. Well, Mr. Beast just left me.
Now, folks, with what I said before about the harvesting method, unfortunately, we sometimes can leave battle scars. Now, I'm sure you've seen throughout the trees that we have tape around them. Well, sometimes the claw mechanism on the machine will unfortunately rip off some of that bark. And in this case, the bark rootstock does not grow back, unfortunately. So, as we all know, duct tape fixes everything, folks. We all know this. So, when that happens, we throw some duct tape around it to try to save it. Better case scenario, we don't lose the tree at all. The better but not as great result is we lose a limb. Or worst case scenario, like the lovely lady about to row in and back, she unfortunately, her past life did not make it. Now, her current reincarnation is very, very quickly trying to catch up with the rest of her sisters. But of course, you're going to be left with a nasty gash. It doesn't grow back. Now, with that stalk within that bark, it's not supposed to see the light of day. So that's the whole reason behind it. Now, after about 8 years, that will slowly start to come off, just like the example we're about to pass right now. This one's pretty much about done, but once that 8 years has passed, the tree is essentially healed, and then, of course, sometimes, again, we'll have the whole tree in progress, and sometimes we'll, unfortunately, lose a limb, or if not a limb, the whole tree. Now, a fun fact about the eels of the world. Did we know that in the past 3 years, we have outproduced the Middle East by 95%? And that is all thanks to California with their major, much bigger farms, over thousands of acres worth of pistachio trees in California. If you can find them. Of course, they don't like to let them know what their methods are. Of course, they have passed the information on to us. But of course, we only have 111 acres total, with 95 acres of it being pistachios. With them, they have farms that are specifically dedicated to commercially growing pistachios. Now, of course, with us, the McGinn's PistachioLand, and next door, part of the desert, we're in the 2% in the world's commercially grown pistachios. And in Arizona, they're around 40%, California being 50%, and then of course, their origin is going to be another 60. So with that yield being what it is, obviously my math is above 100, but that's because it is above 100. That's how much the yield has come about because of all the years of research. Now, of course, the Middle East doesn't necessarily go into those very deep researches with how they want to grow them. Of course, they have their trees grown naturally. Now, after 25 years of them aging, they are at full production. When they start exceeding 70 to 100 years, they start to lose just a little bit of their production, but not a lot. I want to say hi to the dove that just flew away. So, look, folks, in case
Oh, there was a dove that just flew away. That was awesome.
we have our homemade pistachio ice cream. It is the best flavor we have here on the farm. We do make it ourselves. If we were wondering if the homemade part didn't make sense to you already, I just explained it to you. Now, we did add 4 more flavors to our homemade menu. We have carrot cake, strawberry shortcake. We also have pineapple. Now, we did have lemon pistachio. However, it did so good that we ran out of it in a week. So, we should be able to bring that back with our experts. Miss Clarissa is our expert ice cream maker. We also have, like I said before, we have free wine tasting inside. We also have the sample tables of pistachios if we want to choose which one fits for us or for you folks. We believe in the try before you buy it. And of course, that's going to be the end of our tour, folks. I hope we learned something new. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave me a review. Please tell me how good I did.
5
Please tell me
stars.
how crazy I was to take you out and talk about nuts for 30 minutes. And also, please enjoy your stay. And once again, welcome to McGinn's PistachioLand, folks.
Oh yeah. All right, how much owe you for the ride?
What's that?
I didn't have the time to buy a ticket. Do I need to buy a ticket now or later?
So yeah, if you haven't bought your ticket yet, you want to go ahead inside and purchase your tour ticket, sir.
All right, cool.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. All right. So how much was the tour I just took?
Yeah,
I just got done with it. The guy said if I hadn't bought my ticket, I should go inside and buy it.
Yeah, $3.19.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Here, how about 5? All right, thank you.
$181 is your change there.
All right, thank you. So I did buy the ticket, the tour, because they don't. Because it might come back to bite me. No, I did pay. I did pay for the ride. You guys stay for a good deal.
All right. Well, I like it. The more, the bigger the bag you get, the cheaper it's going to be.
So I can buy a box of 4.
We have boxes that have mixed ones. It has our red or green or lemon and our pre-made boxes.
Oh, yeah. So it's actually cheaper to buy. This way they have a pre-made bar.
Yep. We got Pistachio.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I got the small bag. I could buy a big. I thought about buying a box of it and then selling them, but I don't know.